Welcome to KSP. This is stock point 90 and today we're going to fly the Kerbal X with no mods with our elite orange crew, and we're going to go to Minmus because someone on the Facebook group that I'm part of was asking how to get to Minmus, and they're asking for rockets that would actually manage to do the mission, and I replied the stock craft will do it very easily, so let's demonstrate that. So we're going to throttle up, we're going to go release our clamps. I forgot that I hadn't changed that bit of the rocket design at all. And we're going to go. So I'm going to edit out most of the ascent because pretty much all that's standard, and I'll see you in orbit.
What are you? Well, what's Kerbin?
Kerbin is the planet we're on right here, which you can't see very well because it's nighttime, but there's the day side.
Side is water.
Yeah, there's a lot of water on Kerbin. So typically when you come back from a landing sometime, if you don't pay attention, you will simply land in the water.
Daddy, are you in orbit yet?
No, this is not a complete orbit because you see the line is passing through the middle of the planet still. I'd smash into the water if I didn't do this.
Well, you have to introduce to your, who you're going to have it yet. Where are we going?
We're going to go to Minmus, which is the little green one.
No, it's not the little green planet.
Yes, one right here.
That's Jewel.
No, this is Minmus, right there.
It looks kind of different.
Everyone seems to think Minmus looks like a scoop of mint ice cream. That's what they say. It looks like a big giant scoop of mint ice cream. In fact, if you do an EVA report and you take a surface sample, it tells you, oh, you want to take a bite of this mint ice cream or something like that. Despite it not being mint ice cream at all. Okay, so I'm getting ready to do my burn here. I have Minmus already selected. My inclination's a little off. This will be important later. But we're going to not worry about it just yet. Alright, so here we are. We're chilling on orbit. I have an apoapsis of 82,000 meters, a periapsis of 79,000 meters, and we'll go ahead and speed it around so we can actually see the ship. There we go, that'll be sufficient. And this is what I was able to carry in orbit on the stock Kerbal X. This much. Oh, wrong button. We'll go ahead and spin ourselves around so it looks... so the nav ball matches what the screen is looking like. Oh, like this. Kind of helps me figure out my maneuvers just by looking at the nav ball. But anyway, that is basically a tiny smidgen of fuel. I do not need that fuel, so we're going to get rid of it. Reactivate the Poodle engine back here. Right there, nice and highlighted. Alright, so what do we want to do next? Now, Minmus is inclined from Kerbin's equator. The moon is sitting right at Kerbin's equator, and since KSC is on the equator, if you launch and turn directly to the east and don't deviate much from that, you'll end up in a nice orbital plane that pretty much matches the moon but does not match Minmus. So there are two ways to do a maneuver right off the bat that'll get you to Minmus. One is to launch yourself into an inclined orbit that happens to line up with Minmus's orbit, but that requires a bunch of timing, and I don't have the patience for that. So what I'll do, typically, excuse me, I will toss my ship into orbit, and then before I manage to do one full revolution, because I launched from over here somewhere, I haven't even done a full orbit, and I will line up my inclination to match Minmus, which I can see here at the ascending node will be 0.0. So I can tell my guy to aim for the maneuver. Jeb's awesome like that. Since this is sandbox and he's a level 5 pilot, although you can do that at level 3, I found out, you can just tell him to maintain target with the maneuver and then conduct burn. Now this burn timer 4 seconds is wrong. This is based off of the engine I just got rid of, which is sitting right over here because it still had a little bit of fuel in it. Job, maintain prograde. Thank you. Maneuver. So let's wait ourselves to get to the maneuver. We'll do the burn, and we will get ourselves set up for a Minmus burn. Okay, that's good enough. I just kind of guesstimated when to do the burn. Okay, conversely, you can do this. Watch it and kill it. And then I just sneak into it a little bit here, and that's pretty good. Alright, so that's essentially lined up. So now the plane I'm in matches Minmus's plane. Now I can do a maneuver over here somewhere. I'm kind of guessing this. Okay, that looks like pretty close, although that's kind of overkill. So let's back off that just a little bit. Now, since Minmus is so small, and anyone who's been watching my modded career series will realize this pretty quick, Minmus is very difficult to get right away because of how small it is. I even had a little overkick because I shoot past it a little bit, so we can go. Let me trim that back some so I'm just touching the orbit. And then because I'll be going slower, I have to do the burn earlier, like so, to get, there we go. If I do nothing else after I get my Minmus encounter, I will come back and slam into Kerbin. That's not what we want to do. We want to land on Minmus, right? That's the goal today. That looks decent enough. So let's turn on our stuff, tell Jeb to maintain a maneuver. And we'll wait a little bit to do the burn. And then I can always trim the burn manually using engine power in various directions to make that encounter look a little better. So let's get to the maneuver. And when I get to 32 seconds away, like now, I take half of the estimated burn time and I go from the half the time from this and I do the burn. So I'm doing the burn before the actual maneuver node. So I'm doing half of it before and half of it after. Because you can't do all your delta V in one huge glorious instant unless you have a certain mod. Because that's a huge jump in acceleration forces and you'll rip your ship apart. So right now we are accelerating at, looks like to be a little less than 2 Gs of gravity. So one tick is 1, 2, 3, 4, big line is 5, up to 10, and I've seen this gauge pegged out before. That's the thing. You're doing it right when you see that G-force meter gauge break itself. Okay, now I gotta sneak into it with partial engine power because it's easy to overshoot. Okay, so let's do retrograde because I think I overshot the burn just a teeny bit. And because I think this engine makes way too much power, we'll dial it back a bunch. Alright, so what's my Minmus periapsis? Okay, we'll let that periapsis number get pretty small, and then we will... When the number starts going back up again, we know we've pretty much got it. So that's a good encounter. About 20 kilometers, that's decent. So I can just tell that, go like that. And that's setting up my encounter. So I'm coming back on the back side of it, that's alright. And it'll kick me into a higher orbit because I have a higher apoapsis from Kerbin. So this isn't free return trajectory. So if I was completely out of fuel, set up in this orbit, I would be adrift for quite a while unless I had somebody get up and push. So let's get ourselves to Minmus sphere of influence, the sphere of influence change. And we'll negotiate a landing. Now, since I have such a nice low periapsis to Minmus, I can pretty much just do a direct periapsis burn retrograde and then land. Doesn't really matter where I do it. Okay, so it looks like... Alright, looks like it lied to me. but that's okay. There are two ways to go about doing this. I can tell Jeb to maintain radial. Radial means, let's see which way are we going. Yeah. So radial means I'm basically flying, I'm pointing at a tangent from my trajectory. So if I do a burn, I'll end up kicking the maneuver up that way. So we want to go anti-radial. Anti-radial means I'll be burning this way, which will shove this entire trajectory closer to Minmus. So I'll go ahead and turn that up some. And now, I do a little bit of engine power, I can see my parabola sneaking away. This isn't very efficient. This is basically rotating your orbit, but it works. That looks decent. So I'll come around the night side, then I'll do a braking burn, and I'll put us down probably on the flats over here, because it's day side and all that. So I'm getting a partial electric charge. Let's see if I can improve that rate some. Yeah. Because of how I'm facing, I'm not getting a lot of solar panel power. I could just hold retrograde. That might be a thing. So now I'm getting more power. Alright. Okay, so the landing site I had selected over here is actually in shadow, so I don't want that. So we're going to do something a little different. We're going to close this orbit up nice and circular, and we'll take our sweet time to picking the landing site. I can go over here. I can go for this little bit. Yeah, you know, I'll go for that little bit there. Okay. That's the start. And a little more. I'm worried about if I'm going to clear these mountains coming over it. Since Minmus has for its size, it has a very high relief on mountains. I mean, you can look at the thing, it's visibly incredibly lumpy. Right? So you can very easily smash yourself into stuff if your orbit is too low. In fact, there are places on Minmus that if you do it wrong, your orbital, this here will say surface, or say orbit, when you're coming in for landing, because the place you're landing at is so extremely high up in relation to the, I guess, the sea level, you'd call it. There's a technical term for it, I just don't remember because I'm stupid, so. Oops. So let's time accelerate as much as we can. Let's focus back on our ship using the backspace key. Let's try not to kill our crew. It's going to look really close. I am a trained amateur, so don't do this at home if you're not comfortable with such things. I'm telling you now, the fuel ratio we're getting now is quite a bit easier than it is trying to do the moon landing challenge with this stock vessel. But this looks very doable. See, it's already flipped into surface mode. That's a good thing. Okay, so basically we're flying along at a nice shallow ballistic arc. This will make the landing that much easier because I don't have to waste a bunch of fuel to do it. Let's get the gear down, because we're going to land here in a few. It's pretty much right around here. I'll do a full power burn to, so I can't even time accelerate. How awesome is that? Start doing that burn now. You see my, because I'm accelerating so quickly. Yeah, we don't need to do all that. That puts us into flats. That's a good thing. Coffee. So I keep doing this, trying to record a video after just waking up. I never learn. Alright, so I need way less engine power than what it's giving me here. So let's try, I don't know, 33% or so. Yeah, see, that's plenty. Alright, so this is literally the altitude I am above the surface, so let's slow down now. That's a good start. Jeb's going to maintain retrograde heading here. I'm not good at suicide burns, so if you're looking to learn how to do suicide burns, you're looking in the wrong spot, because that's totally not me. Okay, so let's keep our speed pretty low. I can see my shadow here. The flats are a great spot to land if you're trying to make a base or something, because you can dock everything or land everything very close, put wheels on your stuff and land. It's very easy. Alright, so let's transition to simple hold the heading. And bunk. That's it. That's landing on Minmus. And what's the EV report saying? You feel a bit like a superhero when you jump on low gravity. Yes, we do. Because I can jump higher than my capsule. This old Superman saying, clears buildings with a single bound. I can clear my lander with a single bound. Running is kind of comical because of how low the gravity is. Let's see if I can actually jump over my lander. Ready? Go! Go fast, go fast! Oh, it cleared it. I think he cleared it. Oh yeah. I timed that apoapsis just perfect, didn't I? And then we can just say, I don't want to come back down again. Jetpacks work very well on Minmus. Now I'm going to show you what to do in case you screw up your landing on Minmus, because it happens. Like, oh no, we've landed on our side. What are we ever going to do? Well, this is actually easier than you think it is. You can simply rotate your stuff up. Minmus gravity is so weak that you can do this. I don't even need landing gear. But we will put landing gear down again because why not? And it'll kick us up a bit. And that'll be it. It's harder to do this on the moon if you don't have RCS thrusters, but you can do it on the moon if you're very careful and you have a small lander. This is pretty big for doing this, but Minmus gravity is something like 5% that of Kerbin. So yeah. So anyway, that's how we get to Minmus. Getting back is trivial, so I'm not going to show that here. Have questions, drop a comment. I'm on this Facebook group, the smaller one, the almost 2,000 member group, so you can find me there. And ask questions, feel free to comment, throw up a like, throw a subscribe if you like the video. Critiques are welcome. I am not a Scott Manley. I am very far from being the skill level that Scott Manley and some of the other professional KSP TV streamers are. But I'm not a noob anymore. But anyway, hope this helps some people out there, and you all have a good day.